My name is Leif von Tambia, and I'm the product owner of energyPRO, and I will, for the next couple of hours, present the new features we have enabled in energyPRO 5.0. Okay, I'll just move forward. Let me see here. So I'll just go briefly through all of these slides here. So it's very much an important part is the left side menu, including the overviews, where you can easily overview and edit payments and time series, all the different things. Another important part is the ribbon, which are new in energyPRO. We have different tabs on the ribbon. I'll go through those later. And it also, nice thing is that we have enabled more modes. We have now a light mode, and we have actually a gray and a dark mode. So actually we have altogether three different modes. We have created new icons and new shapes and new color schemes. They can either be greenish, or shades of green, or more colorful, or eventually you can also select your own colors. We have included more graphs, charts, made improvements to the production graph, with different options where we can visualize storage charts and marking, import, export, etc. We have enabled tags and metadata in the project files. And we have put all our project examples online. They are not part of energyPRO installation anymore. They are now online. And then you can view details about each project before you load it. Yeah, and this is of course the page where you download energyPRO. Go to our homepage, energyPRO, and then download, and there you have access to the energyPRO 5.0. Okay, that was a very brief introduction to what you're about to see. This is energyPRO 5.0 user interface, new user interface. As you see, looks quite different. We have the three main things I'm gonna go through in this first part of the session is the ribbon part, is the side menu, and then also the changes we made in the graphical user interface. I will go through the different tabs up here in the ribbon. So the main tab is the home tab. That is where energyPRO will normally be, and here you have some shortcuts to save and close, and to some of the time series, online time series, and methodological time series. You have, if you have the tool, the optimize module, you'll be able to make an optimized calculation here. This is a shortcut to the production graphic reports, and here you can enforce calculations, either for this calculation here for the reference, and if you had alternatives included, if it was a compare, you could force to calculate all. And then we have our interface, the graphical user interface tools as well. Let me see, that was more or less that. An important part whenever you start making up your new project is the project setup. Be aware that we have not really included new items here. It is all items which has been relocated, so to speak. So the project setup here has very much been part of the previous used to be the project identification and external conditions, but now we have included those settings in the project setup and in the calculation setup. So in the project setup, you start by selecting which module am I am I using? Do you need? And that also depends on your license. What modules do I have access to? So basically, these are the modules which regarding to planning period, like the design. You can calculate for 1 year, so you can select here in this next group where there you can select when will this year start, and you can select in this calendar any given period. I can select like this. But since the design goes only for full months, full years, you see it will turn back to the 1st of April 22, and then it will go until 1st of April 23. If on the other side I was in a finance or accounts, then I would be able to specify the end year. So here I can select more years and decide which year I want. I think actually it goes all the way up to 100 years. So you're able to make quite a long calculation here. But typically, like, you'll take a few years, and then on the other side with the operation, again, this is just to illustrate the dynamic we have with this ribbon. The content depends on your selections. So now with the operation, now I have the time part as well, both from the beginning and to the end. I can select freely when it's how long my calculation will be when I'm in operation. I'll just go back to the design, and then I have this one here. That's fine. Other stuff here is the time zone. You select the time zone, or you select the holidays, which holiday you have, if you want to include holidays. And another a nice feature we included here in Ribbon is that you have this screen tips here. Let me just show like this. Then you have this text here describing what happens, what is your options here, and what is the impact of selecting this. And that goes for all the different stuff. We have that. Then we have that throughout the ribbons. These screen tips. But again, look at this button here. Then you have access to this external condition window, which you know from 4.9, where you basically have the same options here, but you can like edit in the time zone and things like that if you have the need for that. Another important part, of course, is what currency is included in your project. We have a few included in this list here, but you can feel free to add your own currency, and then that will be the one you're using. And of course, then the last part on this ribbon here is the measuring unit, where you have these three default units you can select between. And there you see I have some user-defined ones as well. And again, if you need to go into more details, you select this button here, and then it will start up with this the measuring units, where you can do more freely, define your own template if necessary. So that was kind of what defined the project. The next tab here is is more when it comes to calculation. And here we have the calculation methods. We have some time settings, and then some advanced features, warnings, and the operation shortcut to the operation strategy. So we start over here. You select which solver you're going to use. The default solver in energyPRO is the highest MILP solver. We still have the analytic solver included, and we have the CBC solver as a MILP solver included. And then if you have your license yourself to either the commercial solver Gurobi or Cplex, you can select those. Just to illustrate again the dynamic of the ribbon, if I change here to analytic, you see the ribbon changes. Now I have different settings here. Now I can select whether this is a private wire or not. This doesn't make sense in the same way in the MILT. So I have to go back to the highs. And when it comes to the highs or the MILT solvers, we need to select how long do you want a given calculation to last before we stop it. The default setting is, I believe, 120 seconds. And then, as it says here, there's a text here describing what this gap is. Previous, we call it precision, but the calculation needs to reach this gap before it stops. And this, of course, you can also select. You have again some MILP settings, and again this shortcut to the old project identification for the MILP calculator. Okay, let's move on to the next one, this time part, and that is where you select the calculation step. Again, this is not new. All these options you have all the time. You can select the optimization period, typically months or year, and whether you want the storage content to be transferred from one month to another. And if you have this one enabled as here, then energyPRO will calculate the months one by one, chronological order. And if you disable this option, it will be able to calculate more in parallel, using more of your cores on your computer. Let's have go to the advanced settings. All you know as well. This is all part of the old project verification. Have I included do I need to include process heat? Do I need to include startup? And do I have fuel production included and so on? You need to set those if you want to enable these, like the hydraulic transmission. Next, the warnings. This is if there's imbalance between your heat production and your heat consumption, then you can click there. Okay, I want to have a warning on this when that is the case. If you don't mind, or if you know for some good reasons that there will be some kind of imbalance, you can just disable this. And then this operation strategy is a shortcut to the old or to the existing operation strategy window. Okay, the reports. I will not go through this now. I'll skip that until after the break. License. Yeah, that is where you make your activations and also deactivation. You have this statistic, and please notice that we have actually made a new page here. I go here. This, if you've been here, you know that. That's all the ones activated energyPRO at your company. But you can press this button down here. Then on my second screen, you have some more detailed information about your activation. So there you can see, have some more knowledge on who and what modules you have and so on. Yes, and the help license part here is, of course, we have the about that has been left unchanged. The check for updates on automatically check. Team viewer support, if you have that. You are aware that if you don't are not interested in installing TeamViewer, you can avoid that doing the installation by going to custom installation and then deselect TeamViewer. Another very interesting thing we have included here in 5.0 is the manual or the help is now put online. So if you press the manual here, then a browser is opening, just to show you. And then we have the energyPRO handbook documentation here, where you can go through and make search and go through the different chapters. Also, the same thing if you anywhere in energyPRO press a help button, you will open the browser and then the specific help will be selected in this in the manual, in the documentation. Okay, so now the last one is the file, and that is when you start up energyPRO, it will start up in this file menu, and as you see, we kind of have 4 sections here. We have one over here to the left with some save and close options. We have the online project examples is viewed here. We have the most recent used files here, and then we have a preview window here. And to the right, we have we show online news from our EMD website, and we have shortcuts to coming courses, FAQs, tutorials, and so on. Over here, all these are, I guess, self-explainable. The option part, that is where you can shift between some look and feel, some graphical interface settings, template, the default templates, and so on. I would like to show the different notes we have on this one. So I'll just before I do that, I'll just change the window over here. Go into this side just to make it more visible. I go here and I go into option again. And as you see, we have these 3 light, which are the present one, and the default one when you install energyPRO. Then we have gray and we have black. So if I just go to gray, you see now it looks like this. Everything becomes dark gray, and including inside the different items. If that is not enough, we also have the black theme. So then it becomes somewhat darker. And again, even more dark here. But again, it's up to you what you prefer. I'll just continue in the light theme. The last item down here, this default shapes and color palette I'll go through when I get to the graphical user interface. Okay, so that was. I just need to press OK here. That was this left part here. Then the project examples. As I mentioned, with the 5.0, we no longer include project examples with the installation. Now the project examples are online, and that of course, first of all, that makes a more more slimmer installation, and the installation file will be a lot smaller. But also it enables us to be more agile on updating project files to when we enter new years, or when we want to have new kind of topic included in a project file. We can easily do that. So we have included. We have not quite the same amount yet as we had before, but we have still quite a few here. Basically, they are sorted in languages. So we have the English, we have German, and we have some Danish. Oh, sorry, I just need to German, and then we have the Danish parts as well. Also, you can do a search here. And in this search, because on the project examples, we now have included tags and metadata. So you see over here, here's a preview of, like, I just picked one of these. So this is the preview of this project example here. You have the graphical user interface. You have the name. You have when it was saved. You have some tags. And if you had included some description, you would have that here as well. And we have some static information, some metadata. How to include those data? I forgot to mention that actually, because I like to go back to the project setup here. In the project setup, we have this button, edit metadata, sorry. And this opens this new tab on the project identification, where you kind of describe. This is pretty much similar to what we had before, but you can describe short description of the plant, of your model, and then you can make a longer description here. And then you can select, okay, my model here is in, all my units are named in English or German or Danish, whatever, and I included myself some extra here. So you can select which language you want to save your model in, and then you name all your, instead of units, instead of engine, you write motor or whatever it will be in specific language you are in. Then you can add tags yourself here. In this model here, I added 2 tags. This model included a conversion table, and it included a time series function with cycle periods. Beside that, energyPRO has himself added default tags based on the model. What type of energy conversion units, what type of modules are we using, and then again, here's default included the pictures, the graphical user interface of the different sites and the overview, and we have some information here. This metadata here, they are then what you see here on the preview here. You know, if I just select this example I have opened here, you see the cycle period, the conversion table, region design, and you recognize this picture. And now I can say, okay, I would like to look for models with regions. So I write region here, and I press then it comes up with all the project examples where we are using region. And similar, I could say, okay, I would like to have this conversion table. I guess there will only be this one here, because that's something you, as it is now, need to include manually. But this search option is very nice. If you have something specific you're looking for, you can see them here. You can try search here. Yes, I think that was mainly what I had in mind. Oh, no, one more thing. With 5.0, and to have this option of this metadata and these images and so on, we have changed the format of the files. It's no longer EPP, but now it's EPPX. And this X is that the original EPP file is packed into a kind of adjacent type file where we include these metadata and we include these images and so on. So when you save an energyPRO 5.0 file in EPPX, you will no way be able to open that in 4.9. You have the option, if I press save as here, then you can write the name and write .epp, then it will be saved in the EPP format and without all the metadata and the tags. And then you will be able to open it 4.9, but still, as always, with opening a new, in an older version of the program, you will probably have some warnings that some of the data is not available in 4.9. Let me see if I have any more on my point for this on my list. Yeah. So another thing, and that is we have not. When you save your project file, of course, your project files will not be part of our online data examples, but it will still contain all these tags and meta tags. And we expect that in next version we will in a later version include this search option on your own files as well. So you know that for some months back I worked with this and this topic, but I can't find it, so you can search for it. So that is the reason why we already included here in the project files. The search functionality will most likely come in a later version. Okay, I think that was what I have on the ribbon part. Now I will go to the next, and that is this side menu here. As you can see, these items, all these items were already included in the 4.9 in the input data window. The one thing which are not here is the project identification and the external conditions settings. As I mentioned, they are now included in the ribbon part. Let's start from top. External conditions. It looks like this, and very much the same. You see, we have the list of the time series which is included in the project, time series functions, and if there was indexes, they will be shown here as well. Now in 5.0, you are able to color your time series, and what use is that for? That is, if you want to present your time series in production graphic, for example, then you are able to define the color yourself by going directly into the time series and select the color. Notice that when I select these external conditions, I have another tab up here in the ribbon called external conditions, and that goes for all these. They have their own tab for in the ribbon. And this ribbons, the tab here include when you want to add a new time series, a time series function. If you want to load online time series, you want to load your own time series. And if I like to, I can save this or copy or delete. If I show this, I have option of exporting the time series as into the data and show it in graphs, charts. But the interesting part is coming here when I press this arrow. Then we have the overview, and when it comes to the time series, we actually had the overview already in 4.9. But still there are some improved functionalities. Actually, I would like to start with this column here, these 3 dots here. Select those, then you have these options here. And it's very much similar to right click. You have the same, but then you can. I could now open the specific time series, and I can see here who's using this time series, and I see that this is my solar collector using this specific one. But otherwise, we have in an overview here the symbol used for the different time series, the unit, whether it's in daylight saving, whether you move it to the planning period in by the week or by the date, and function is down here for the time series functions. What formula is included, and is it modified? And here you see it can be modified by cycles or by conversion table. And we have location on this one, and then these info buttons is the comment you include in the bottom of the time series where it says. And then we have some values, mean, max, and mean values, and then you can select a specific time and see the corresponding values, how they correspond. So another thing is that, like, okay, I'm mostly interested. I just make this a little bit shorter. I'm interested in having a look on these daylight saving and moving time. I go out here, do some look at it, and then I enter back again. Then it remembers how your overview was when you left it. So it remember this. So if I do like this, back in, it remembers this, and all simultaneously the other way, of course. So that's a nice feature. If you need to go in and out of these overviews, you don't need to expand them every time. Another nice option is that if I move my mouse here in the header, you see there is this filter option here. So I can say, okay, I only want to see those who are in daylight saving time. Then I see those, and you see down here what filter I actually enabled. And I can say, okay, then I only want to see those actually moved by date. So now I have these 2 options here. Yeah, and I can say, okay, I do like this. I am back, but my filters are still here, so I can enable them again. And if I want one of them removed, I can either click here or remove it. If I can hit the button, there it was. Or I can go up here again and select all, and now we are all back. Again, another option you have also, if I click here, I sort them in opposite, either increasing or decreasing order. Another interesting things we included in the external conditions is the option of grouping your time series. Sometimes you have a huge amount of time series, and you kind of want to have them sorted somehow. Now we have included the option of adding a group. So I can right click here, the 3 dots next to the time series. Here I can add a new group. It came down here, and then I call this, I just call it meteorological data, like this. And then I say, okay, this one. And now I need now you see another thing. You see now that I have made a change here. Now I have these two buttons up here are now enabled. I can either apply this change or I can revert it. I'll press apply here. And now I'd say, okay, I want my ambient temperatures. So I press it, keep the mouse down and move it down here. And now it's included in the time series. I want this one as well. So now I have included my 3 time series with the radiation and temperature in this one. I could go on and make one with the prices or whatever, emissions, so on. So this option is of grouping is can give you a better overview of all your time series. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned that already, but and that is we have already that in the also in 4.9 this used and used by, but now it's included everywhere in the program. But I just illustrated this like this time series, this electricity time series function is using this time series, so that is the one we see up here, and it's used by in the economy, heat pump, and the market is using it as well. So that gives you also some kind of information on where are we, who's actually using this item here. Let me see. Oh yeah. So I mentioned that the project examples no longer came as part of the energyPRO installation. The same goes with time series. With the 4.9, we had several hundred time series coming along in energyPRO with the installation, but now we have them online on our web server, and you can access them from within energyPRO instead of. So you click this button here. Since we have so many, it takes a little while for it to have them all presented here. Just have it should take only a few seconds. Here it goes. They are again grouped in these 3 main languages, German, English, and Danish. And then there will be some, I just take the Danish part, for example, here, some subgroups, prices, gas prices, electricity prices, emissions, weather data. And then again, in there, we have more data, more groups, more folders. And then here I can select any one of these. Another option, I could also say, okay, I'm looking for some spot price. So I just write spot here. And then it will look up all the time series which include spot in the name. For now, we don't have tax included in these time series, but we have the name, the symbol, the unit, and then the comments. You can see those. So I can go through and see, is this really the one I'm looking for? Yeah, looks correct. And then I can press here and add to project, and then it will be included in my list of time series. Also, the time series has a new format. They have also been wrapped into this JSON format. So all these time series here is actually in a JSON format. And if I press this one and want to save, sorry, like this, I can either save in the old way as EPW or in the EPWJ format. That would be this one then. Yeah, let me move on. I close this one. I go to the next one, the site. Site itself is not necessarily very interesting. You can select here, I want to go to the solar side. I want to go to the other side, whatever side I want to. I have this one. I can also here you see this used by. I can see this solar collector field. It has some transmission connected to it, so then you can see which one of these are. Then you can you can enter these, but that's not what we're interested in. This site is actually more interesting if we select a model with, I have another one example open here. I'll just get that one. So you see here, the sites is open here, and then when we have this hydraulic transmission, then we need to set some temperatures on each site, and then you have this information here with the temperatures and the zones and so on. Put that aside. Transmission, it's a bit the same, since here the different transmissions, we have two transmissions here, side A and side B. All these columns here are all settings which are already present in if I open this one, you see all these settings are the same, but we have this overview, which are the benefit of this all these new overview options here. And still, I can also go in here and write a new values here. That was maybe a little bit extensive, something like that. Oh, that's not good. So I could, okay, I write a wrong number here. I'll revert that. So we are back to the ones originally was there. Yes, again, looking to the hydraulic example, we have all the information on the with the hydraulic. We have this with the pipes, length, diameter, roughness, heat loss, velocity, and so on. All these are in an overview here. And again, with this, you can see some charts as well. I will. Okay, into the fuel. This example is this Danish cogeneration plant. We only have one fuel, the natural gas, and we show here the heat value, the unit, and we have also included the CO2 factor here. If if we had restricted fuels and so on, that would also be selectable here. Let me show another example I have with that one. This one, just a moment. So here you see now we have like a fuel storage capacity, offered fuel, and storage content. So again, very much what you see is very much dependent on what is enabled. So it's very dynamic in that sense, these settings. The demand, just see what time we are. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same story. All the different options here. Energy conversion units, again, we have here some main groups. We have a group called inputs, outputs, and then we have the operational settings, path load, instruction to store, what market, and so on. So let's see. Let this, again, these you can edit those, and here double click there, and then you have this function where you can define your function there, formula, all of that. And when I did show you that before, when making this one change, you see the where I have made changes, they are marked here with this light green color, and I can now if I press outside this, then I'm asked do I want to save my change? Yes or no? And I'll press cancel here. I could press no, then they would be discharged. Now I can press revert here. And now they are reverted to what they was before. I will go more quickly through now. Stories, same story. Also depends on, here we have losses on one of the stories, not on the other one. Markets, the same. I don't know if I need to go more into that one. The economy, in this model here, we have quite a few. Let me just get rid of this one. Quite a few payments here. So you see there's a lot of payments here, and this would be nice if you could have a better overview of this. So again, this is really where the this filtering option becomes handy. So I would like to have all the payments regarding the Indian. So I go and press like this. Then I have these payments when it comes to the Indian. But maybe that's only when the payment concern production unit and the Indian is selected. Maybe I could also go here to the formula for the payment and make a custom, and then I can write contains, and I can write Indian. So now I have all those ones we had before, plus 2 user-defined payments. And again, I can see across here, are the payments the same? Are they correct? This really is a handy thing with this overview here. Yeah, so I can disable this. Now we are back. I enable that. I showed you that before. I will just completely remove it. Yes, I think that was to a large extent what I would like to show on the left side menu or the side menu. Just one last thing. If you're saying, they're taking up quite a lot of space, these 2 items here, you have the option of doing like this, and then whatever you select, you still have that. And likewise with the ribbons, with the ribbon, you can click this one here, and then you need to press before to get that. I would like to have them visible again. Last item before the break is the graphical user interface. Let's see, I'll go to my home menu here. Now we are in Ringkøbing. I'll change to Ringdomscentralen. So this, of course, as you can see, looks a lot different than it used to in 4.9. We have now circular here and colorful. We have different connections here. We have 2 default options of the shape of this one. If I select this button here, I come to this default shape here, this graphical user interface. We have the circle and the square. So if I select square here, then all the ones, all are converted into square. If I right click and select visual properties, I have this shape option here, the circle and the square, and the default. All of these, as you saw here, is set to be default. So they change whenever I change the default, all the defaults are changed, so to speak. I could also say that, okay, this one I want to be circular. So this one is circular and the other ones are squares. And then if you take the default to circulars, everything is circulars because that is already circular and things like that. Other option you have is beside the circle and square, you can make a rectangle there. Default looks a bit the same, but now you are able to change the ratio between the height and width of this. So you can say that, okay, this I want to look like that. I want my thermal storage to be an ellipse instead of. So I can do like this. But when I now change, I want to go back to the circles. These two are not changed. They stay as they are. And that's also one, if you load one of your 4.9 projects, if you have not changed the ratio between the height and width of the 4.9 icons, then they will be interpreted as defaults and will be changed to the default setting of your 5.0. If you have made a long one or something like that, or changed the ratio of them, then it will not be changed into the default, but will keep its present shape. Just for your information, when you open a project and you see, oh, why is only some of them changed? And this you can of course use to make them look different. Like if I take this one here, this is very much here. We're not really using defaults. We are using either selected to be circle or selected to be square. So that's the options you have. Let me see. Yeah, another thing is the color palette. We kind of include two color palettes now. The colorful one, which are the ones you see here and which are selected, where you have a number of different colors, or the green one, where we have 18 shades of green. And there are a connection between those. So I go like this now. So you see they are all changed, the colors of them. So that was not, okay, I see here, this was color 1. So when I change to the colorful one, it will be the color 1 in the colorful palette it will be using. But still, you are able to define your own colors and say that I want to use that one instead of. Now it's no longer part of the color palette anymore. And if you change color palette, this one will not change. Yes. Yeah. If you have region modules models with a large number of sites, it can be a little bit complicated to switch between the different sites. We have now in here included a list of the sites, so it's easier to jump from one site to another. And of course, you can always go to the site overview. And this brings up the next topic here, the site overview here. You see, we have a new option also here, background image. If I right-click, select layout, background image, then I can select an image, and then that will be put into the background of where I am now. I took in the overview. So now I have the option here. This background here is actually taken from the meteorological time series data, where I've zoomed into this city here in western part of Denmark, Ringkøbing, and then I have selected that, and then I can locate my sites on this in a reasonable clear way. So I know that the solar collectors are the ones you see behind here. I know that the main energy center is here, and then of course all of the city is heated with district heating from this, but this is then located here. And a nice thing now is this one. Now you can you can change the route of these transmissions. So to do that, you need to right click, and connection type need to be a straight line. And when that is, then you can add connector edges. And as you see, you can see I have added a number of connector edges here. I can select, and then I can move them, and then I can make it look nice, and I can spend a lot of time on this. So you can make it more or less detailed. So you can, yeah. So that's yes.
Please note that we have just 1 minute left for this part.
That's fine, because I am actually very much at the end right now. So yeah, I think actually I was I was just about to wrap up. So yeah, so we have been through all this, the ribbon part, the side menu, and be aware that, as I mentioned earlier many times, it's very dynamic. What you see in the ribbon and the side menus is very much depending on your selections. So have you like a compare module or an interface, no, sorry, a finance or accounts, then you'll have more options down here with finance and investments options and so on. Yeah, I think that was it for now. Okay, so quarter is 15 minutes past, so let's continue on with the next part, which are improved reporting. I will start with some not improved on the graphs, not necessarily regarding to the calculations, but more to improved visualization of like inputs. The first item I would like to demonstrate is that it's now possible to have more graphs open at the same time. So if you have a chart or graph with a temperature, and you like to see the corresponding chart or graph with the with an energy conversion unit using this temperature, that is now possible. Let me demonstrate. I have here another project example of ours. So what I could do now, I could open up here this temperature here. You see in this one we already added this the grouping. We have a price data group and a meteorological data group. So I would like to have the temperatures. I click it here. I show this one. And now it looks like this is the temperatures. I just move a little bit away here. I'll close this one. I go to the energy conversion units and say, okay, I want to see both the solar PV and the heat pump and the solar PV at the same time. So now I will not do that anyway. I'll do this. I'll only show the solar. I'll do like this. I show the heat pump first. Let's see. Takes a little while. Comes up here. But actually the heat pump maybe not necessarily the most interesting, because the heat pump itself actually also include the temperatures. But still, you are able to see if there is any logical combination between the capacities and this given temperature. I could open another one. If I do like this, I close and then re-enter, and then select the solar PV. Now this opens up, I hope, in a different window. Yeah. So here but again, then you have the temperature as well. But still, you have these options of comparing. If you have the feel that things are not quite correct setup somehow, you have this more graph option to compare the and see if things looks correct. Another interesting thing is I would like to go into this the market price here. Open this one. And then I select the graph down here in the bottom. You see this is the prices as they developed here over the year. There's been a very peak right here. I have this option down here. I can show some statistic information now. Okay, I like to see the monthly max, for example. I can click that. The monthly mean, minimum, the monthly mean. Now I have these, and then you can see how they look. So we have very low here and high here, and so this is only a 3 months calculation. So that's why we only see the 3 months. We have 1, 2, and 3 here, and you see the minimum here and the maximum there, and that is showing here. Another interesting one is this. Just take these off. Diurnal means. This like diurnal means monthly, for example. It's a little bit difficult to see what it actually says, but if you go here, you see what is for this month the average at 1 o'clock. 169. This is the same for all the. If I can manage to get it here a little bit like that. No, 101, sorry, that was my mistake. 101 and 101. So you have the same profile, and then you can see how your actual time series vary according to this profile. Another option is have a weekly diurnal means. So then you will have the means each Monday at 4 o'clock, and each Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and so on. And then you will be able to see are the prices lower in the weekend than in the weekdays, and etc. etc. So that's gives you some information as well. Oh, I should maybe leave this one on. Another thing which might not be obvious for everyone is that we actually have a good zoom functionality. I don't know if maybe some people have noticed. I press the left click, press down and drag. Then I can see this period here, and now that is zoomed. Now I can actually go here. So now I see the whole week, but this axis stay my as I zoomed into, and that of course in some periods there'll be data I'm missing. But then I want to go back. I click the other way. I press down here and drag up here, and I'm back to the default. Yeah. So that was just some nice improvements on the graphs, on the time series, demands, wherever you have graphs, you have most of those places you have these options here. Let me see next. Let's go to the result of the reporting. First, I would like to introduce another new thing. When you make a calculation, I'll just calculate these 3 months. I press the calculate button here. You see now the status bar is moved down to the bottom of energyPRO of the window. So it comes here and it calculates. You have the status bar and you have the information as well as you had before. and you have the abort button over here. So now it's calculated. So why do that? And that is because we have experienced sometimes that when it was a small window of its own, it was not really connected with energyPRO itself. So sometimes it could kind of get lost if you had a long calculation taking a long time and you went doing other stuff and then try to come back to this energyPRO window. It could be difficult to match those two together. But now they are linked together by this line and shown here in the button. So I would like to change calculation to my encrypting case from before I have calculated this. So now I'd like to go into the reports ribbon here. Yeah, as you see, again, we have divided into some groups. We have a graphic group here where we have all the charts and graphics, or most of them at least. The production graphic, the carpet, transmissions and duration curves, cash flows, so on, all those graphic reports. The next one here is the energy conversion reports, the annual, the monthly, and summary if you have calculation lasting more years. Then the environment, kind of same type of reports, annual, monthly, and the cash flow calculations. Also the annual cash flow or operation income, as it's called when you are in design, summary monthly, key figures, if you have included any of those. Next group is more for the inputs. You can see the operation strategy calculation report, and the technical inputs, the economic inputs, and the graphical layout. That is all of these will then be presented in the report format. And then finally we have the report tools, as we call this group. We have this new interesting charts which I will present later. Also this calculations log I will come into later. The project reports are located here now, where you add a new report, and if you had a report already, it will be selectable here. And then this export results. This was used to be under the tools in the toolbar, but now it's here where you select shall be energy conversion, economy, or hydraulic if you have enabled that. So that is all these reports, which used to be down here below the input data, have now been put up here in a ribbon of its own. And also, of course, as we already seen a lot, often your flow of work says that you are here doing stuff, something like that, make changes here, and then you want to make a calculation. Then you press this production graphic report, and then if it needs to make a calculation, it will make a calculation. Otherwise, you'll just go into the production graphic like this, I hope. There it comes, and then it shifts the ribbon bar to the reports. So now we are in the reports. And please notice now that we are here in the production graphic. So how to get out of that again? You have this button here, or you can press this once again. So now you have left the production graphic report. Enter it once again. Another thing, if you have any warnings or error messages in energyPRO, they will now appear down here. As you see, there is a button here with warnings. I don't really know for sure. Okay, there seems to be, this has not been in balance, this calculation here. And if you have an error, like if you made a wrong formula somewhere, of course, the energy conversion unit or whatever will be red, but also there will be a button here called errors, which you can open, and then you can see what kind of error you have included. I would like to start with this report, the Energy Conversion Annual Report. This has been redesigned. We have made a new layout on our text reports. We no longer have the frame anymore. We have made a new design of the header and also a new design of the footer. So we have the date and time of the report, the name of the report, the name of the project files, and then if you add some description, that is included here as well. And at the bottom we have an energyPRO logo. We have what energyPRO version have we used when calculating, and yeah, and which page you're on. So we have altogether 2 pages here. And next to that most of our text reports has this new layout, and you see in here some more user-friendly colors, and this specific report, Energy Conversion Annual, we have redesigned that as well when it comes to the content. It has been a bit made somewhat more structured. Now we divided into 2 topics. So we first energy type. So we have an energy type called heat, electricity, and then we have a fuel. Next, we divide it into sites if you have more locations. So the random central, the solar collector field, the district heating area, these 3 sites within the heat. And then within the single sites, we have a group or table with the demand or consumption, losses, etc., and a table with the production, import, and transmissions. So we see now here what we have had a little bit of loss in the transmission. Otherwise, we have for random sent most of our heat produced to the Ringkøbing Central District Heating Grid. So in total 100,314. And that should match this one down here, and I see right now it doesn't. So that could be the warning here that that's not matched in production. But next to it, you have a column here with the share in the ratio in percentage. So we see here how much each production unit has covered of the annual heat production, and also their peak production unit values. And the same goes with the solar collector and with the Ringkøbing district heating. And when it comes to electricity, they are split into the markets. So if you had more markets, you would have a table for each of them. And also if you have fixed tariffs and more different tariff periods, then you would have one for each tariff. So yeah. So that is a lot more structured now, and still we have the key figures here at the end, and this is the CO2. If you have included CO2 on your fuels and on your electricity. So that's the way most of our reports looks. I can open the cash flow reports, a bit the same with this design. But we haven't got through all the reports, so we still have a few reports which have a slightly different design. So you see here, this is a little bit more like the old way. The header and the footer, it's the same, but it's not colored in the same manner in here. But that will come later. Yeah, I did show the cash flow annual or cash flow monthly. It's the same. You have the each month here. Let me move to the production graphic. We have made some improvements on this as well. Quite a few. Let's see, it pops up here. First of all, look up here in this toolbar here. We have included some extra options here. By default now, we show like export import, charge and discharge of the storages, batteries, thermal storage, etc. And also we show if there is any imbalance. We show that as well. So you'll be able to see if you have a project with an imbalance, but you don't know where is it happening, then it'll be easier to locate since it's now included in the production graphic here. So what do we see now? It's a little bit, maybe I think I'll just try to get rid of one of these. Where is it now? Oh, this was this one, sorry. I think I'll turn that one off. So we have a little more room. So what you might be able to see is that now the curves are stacked. So we see all the, like here, we have storage charging here. If you look at the screen tip, you can see the two bottom ones showing a storage charge, and they are appearing here as two values, two curves here, two graphs, curves, sorry. So in principle, always the stacking of the areas, which are the productions, and stacking of the curves, which are the consumptions, they met. So in principle, they should always meet. But if you don't like that, if you don't feel like, I don't want to see this, the storage charging here, I can see that this is the storage discharging, but I don't really interested in seeing that. I can do like this, then I'm more back to what it used to have. Also, if I don't really want to see the spot market import or export, I can also deselect that. So then we are a little bit back. Also, I'm not really interested in seeing both the heat pump and the electric boiler. So I can say, okay, I want to group the consumption. So now it's in one group here. So we have some options here. As you see, there's a checkbox for checkboxes here. This enables this one. Then you are more free to decide which graphs, which data I'm actually interested to see. And now I can right click here and I can uncheck everything. So now it's very empty and I can see, okay, I only want to see the heat pump. So then I have more clearly to see how does the heat pump operate only. And I could see if there was, I'm not sure I have any of these imbalanced stuff here. Doesn't seem like, otherwise there would be a line for that, and then I'll be able to see that by itself, and then I could see this. So the gas boilers not operating a lot and things like that. Storage, all that you have, and then I can go and say, I'll just have a default again. Sometimes, as I said was before, it's a little bit difficult to see what is actually the values here. I can right click here and show this graph in its own window now. Just take a while, it should pop up. Here it comes. So now I have the heat graph in its own window. So I have more room now to see what is specifically going on. And again, I could, let's just, maybe I just make a little bit smaller just to show you. So I can move here independent, but if I go here and move this one, then they follow together. So I can see my storage content and at the same time have more focus on my production. But I can, then again, I can do like this and move to another period. But right away, I touch this, it moves back. Okay. So let me see. I think that was mainly what I would like to include when it comes to the production graphic. Now I would like to show you another very nice thing we have included. This charts here. This is a pie chart or bar chart we can see, and we present annual or monthly values. So here it default goes into the demands of the heat or consumption. I could change this one. I go, so here you select, are we talking pie or bar? Are we talking yearly or monthly? If I select monthly, I can select which months here when it comes to the pie chart, and yeah. And next, I would like just to change this to yearly, and then down here I can select: do you want to have a chart consumption or demands or production and import? So now I select production import. Now it looks a little bit more interesting. Still, the categories I select whatever category I have. I have a heat, electricity, and natural gas in my model here. If I had other fuels, that would be an option. If I had process heat, that would be an option, etc. And next, I can select here which site I'm interested in. If I have more sites, if I go to the random site, the solar collector is gone. Here we only what is received from one and received from the other site. I can select that I would like to have it in percentage instead of. I will only have the label. So here it says, and then if I have only labels, then I don't really need the legend here. So I will move that one. I would still like to have the numbers, so I like to have label and value. So I have it like this. And if I don't want to have to display the values at all, I can do like this, but then I'll probably like to have the legends. So you have a lot of different options here, combinations in the title as well you can remove. Let me press. I will now show the bar options we have. So here we see maybe it's not that interesting. Here once again, pie or bar chart, you can have different design wishes. I would say something like this, then maybe you don't really need the values anymore. Maybe you like to have them stacked instead of on top of each other. Maybe I'd like to have the monthly values. Then you can select the specific months. Or you can select all the months and it looks like this. Remember the calculation, it was started in April. So we have this profile here over the year. So that gives a nice overview over the monthly productions. You see that the solar collector is a summer thing, and the gas boiler is mainly used in the winter time. Yes. Let me have another one. I would like to take in another example. Let me just see. I have, just let me look it up. I have this compare example here. So you see here we have a number of different alternatives. I think we have 5 alternatives and the reference. I'd like to see in the charts here. So let's see. Now you see I can select here the different alternative. I will go again and I'll change this to production to see what's interesting. This is 2 boilers in the reference, not very interesting. How about I change to this one? There you see now we have included the CHP unit, takes most of the heat. I would like to have them next to each other so I can have those like this and then I can compare. And I want to include that one. I could include all of them. Now it's a little bit difficult to see, so then you'll need to do some designing here again. Do I need this one? Do I need to display? Then I have more, then you will just have, I would like to include like that maybe. So it depends on what kind of view. You have a lot of different options. This becomes also interesting if I go to the bar chart. I go to stacked, then I can see clearly here what that's where this is only boilers. In this reference, we have a lot of CHP. Here the boiler is back, and the air pump, heat pump, the heat pump takes a minor part, and so on. And we can see what is the effect of the different units. Yeah. So, and again, you can change electricity. You see here. When we have the CHP, we have some own production. Otherwise, it's import all of them. Then you can have a look about the consumption side. We have the demand, which are pretty much the same. But what you shall notice here is that the scale here is not quite the same. So these gray ones are pretty most likely the same. And then you can do like this. You can probably show those, and then you see, okay, these numbers are actually the same. So the demand is the same, but we have more electricity consumption in these alternatives, in this alternative specific compared to the other. And also you can look at the natural gas, who are using the natural gas, but also you can see need to look at the scale. The CHP units use considerable amount of natural gas. Yeah. So I think this is very interesting. You have a lot of options here to make some nice presentations. Let me see if I have through all the things. Yeah, my colleague, he made. I haven't prepared an example for that, but with more years. So I'll just show the image he sent it to me, and you see. Let me just pick it up. You see it down here. I'll just take it over like this. So this is when you have like a 20-year calculation. You can see the production of heat throughout these 20 years. There's a lot of different energy conversion units here, and since this is a consulting task, I have hidden the actual the values, actual names, and things like that. But still, you can see it is that we have a development in the demand over the first 6 years, and then the demand is pretty much the same. over the next years. But you see, we have a lot more production on the red ones here as we move along, and the gray ones are phasing out here. So this illustrates these nice presentation options this graph, this new chart gives you. So that, I think, is a great improvement. Yes, I think that was more or less for the pie and bar chart. Let me close it. I will go back to my go-to example here. Now we have one thing left I would like to present. Otherwise, and then we are ready to take in questions. I would like to present to you this new calculation log we have included a report here. Let me open. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So this is containing some information about your calculation, some metadata. So this helps you if you have a calculation which for some reason take a long time, and then you can see how come and where is it taking long. Is it a specific month, or is it all the months taking a long time, and so on. So, but basically the header and the footer is the same as on the other text reports. We have some information here, the calculation, date and time in the Pro version, which solver has been used for the calculation, and what was the total calculation time. And then we have the total result. This is what you see in the reports, and then the objectives, and that is what the MILP has calculated and for each month. So as you see, there are a slight difference here, and that is due to the way the energyPRO does a calculation when it calculates with the storage transfer. Because as you might know, when we have storage transfer, we calculate month by month, January, and then February, and then when starting February, we look into the storage content at the end of January. But to make sure that this storage content is not zero, that it typically will be, because we say that storage content shall be empty, zero at the beginning, at the end of the calculation, we calculate this 1 month plus 1 day. So therefore, we have a certain storage content the 1st of February, which we use for the February calculation, and so on. But this means that the MILP actually calculates 1 extra day for each month, except December, or the last month. So therefore, it has a little bit different objectives. But here again, you can see each optimization period. What gap did we end up with? So this is the gap in percentage, and we had this the desired gap should be 0.8, I think it was. So we are below, some months more and some months less. And then we have the calculation time. This is the MILP calculation time by itself. And then we have some pre-processing time. How long does it take to make ready for the MILP calculation? And that's in some models, this pre-process can be very time consuming. So it's good to see this log, to see you can evaluate, is it actually a MILP calculation taking time, or is it the pre-processing taking time? And then some post-processing is collecting the data out of the calculation and presenting them in the reports. So this and if the report contain any warnings or errors or things like that, then this information would be down here. Yes. I actually think that was what I had on my agenda. I have one thing left that I forgot early on. That's a small nice thing to have. On the ribbon, you see you have this quick access up here. Right now I have a calculate button and a save button, but you can actually add up your own. You can right click any of these. I can like add this to quick access toolbar, and then if I felt this should be nice things to have, I can always go here and do this change. So that's this part of built-in functionality in the ribbon that you can add quick access items to this up here. Yes, I think that was it. Shall we take a look at the chat and see if there's any questions coming in? And then it's asked here, is it necessary to delete the old energyPRO before installing the new one? No, it's not. Actually, with 5.0, energyPRO will be installed in a new location. So you'll still have your 4.9 installation on your computer, and then you have your 5.0 on another location. By default, it's in two different locations. So you have now access to both 4.9 and 5.0 at the same time. So you don't need to delete your own energyPRO. Next was what energyPRO using for calculation to speed calculation up. I guess it's computers and so on. This is a question we often get. energyPRO itself does not necessarily require very, very much, but of course, the more the better, to some degree at least. A good amount of RAM is nice, and also a good processor with a good frequency. What do you call? Speed. And also the number of cores has an importance. If you have calculations which you can parallelize where you don't need to have the storage transfer, or if you have calculation running for more years, then it's nice to have more cores, so you can split the calculation on more cores. Next is what do I have to pay attention to when opening projects from version 4 in version 5 and wanting to continue editing them? Not really a lot. By default, you are able to open any project files, 4.9, 4.8, and so on, into energyPRO. There will be changes, of course, as we talked about here in the user interface. It will look different. And in some cases, you will maybe need to rearrange a little bit. We have tried to take into account that it's a little bit different. So typically in 5.0, the graphical user interface will be stretched out a little bit more in the vertical direction, because now we are having squares or circles. Before we have more rectangles, and now so that it takes a little bit more room in the vertical direction. But otherwise, there should be no issues in importing opening a 4.9 in 5.0. Yes. Then the question is, do you have a separate module with hydrogen electrolyzers, different types of electrolyzers and hydrogen data? Please provide the information in writing. We don't have a specific module for hydrogen. We do have project examples with hydrogen, with Power-to-X and so on. And I did show you that one of those. Let me just see if I can find it. This one. I just need to take it over. And then in those project examples, we try to include some of these specific values. So you see here we have an electrolyzer, and you see here we have included an image of this efficiency part on part load. This electrolyzer, it peaks on part load, the efficiency part and things like that. And that has been included in this user-defined electrolyzer here. We also have a built-in electrolyzer where you can select between, I think it is PM and AEL, I believe it is, a type of electrolyzer. And then you would also need to include, we have with energyPRO the correct fuels, so to speak. So if I have like oxygen, water, hydrogen with the correct values, so you can add those, and then it should match together with the hydrogen or the electrolyzer. Energy conversion unit may not appear very obvious only looking at diagrams. Easiest way, unless you do not read what it is. I'm not quite sure what this question is about, but maybe Caroline, you can elaborate further on that. Could you very shortly explain what's the main advantage going from version 4.8 to 5.0 beside the new graphical user interface and metadata? One thing is also the reporting part, improved reports, improved production graphics, and so on, and the chart and pie and bar chart. But others, the 5.0 itself does not include a lot of other improvements beside that. We have made some improvements on the private wire functionalities. We can have private wire payments now for electricity consuming units, not only electricity producing units. From 4.8, now I can't even remember. I'm pretty sure that the optimize we included that in 4.9. So that's a new thing. So all the things which were included in 4.9, which were not in 4.8, is of course also in 5.0. So there will be a number of improvements there. My best suggestion is actually to go our homepage and look into homepage energyPRO, download there. So this will change it. So there on list, we have listed down highlighted the different improvements we have made from one version to another. Is it planned to provide forward or future time series, for example, electricity prices? We don't have specific plans on that, but we are as a lot of people are looking into improvements of making machine learned time series, how to based on a certain assumption, what could the price then be? So we are looking into or have concepts on that to develop that. You can always yourself, of course, include that time series. But for now, we don't have any specific plans, but we are looking into it. Are old energyPRO simulations from 4.9 compatible with 5.0? Yes, they are. As I mentioned earlier, you can always open up your 4.9 model, and since it's very limited what we actually made some changes beside the user interface, in those cases the results will be very much the same. It says here, at the moment we can only include electricity price as a set of data for 1 year. We need to include 20 years. How is it possible? You can include in a time series itself. you can include 20 years. You can make a time series here. It is not limited, this time series here. It is not limited to 1 year. You can include a very long time series of 20 years. So then, of course, then you will have like 10 years, you will have 87,000, and then at 20 years, you will have 165,000 lines of that will be a quite heavy time series, but it is possible to do. The question is how to make sure you get the right value when you're calculating. That can be a little bit of tricky, because if you load a new time series and it has the timestamps of your planning period. So if you load in a 20-year time series starting with 24, running until what will that be? That would be 43, including, and then your planning period is the same. Then energyPRO will be able to select the right time series, the right values of the time series, also in 35 and so on. If you have a historic time series of 20 years, like for 2004 until 2024, then you need to do some. Then it's a little bit more tricky, but it can be done. You can make a time series function which actually reach the correct values, but it's a little bit complicated. I just did it something similar for a hotline request, where I want to have the same 4 years coming into a cycle. So that it is possible to make a time series function doing that, and I'm pretty sure they can do the same with a historic time series. But if the time series is in the same period as the planning period, it will use the correct value of that. Will there be any format changes to any conversion reports? Yes, and that was asked before the second part, and you have seen these changes in formats. There are the layout changes, and then of the conversion annual report has changed in the layout in the format of the data, so they are located a little bit different. So if you somehow have a routine where you export the data in the conversion into a spreadsheet and work with them from there, you need to be aware that the data are located different now in this report. All the other reports have the same structure. Yes. Oh, yeah. That's my mistake. There's currently in the face module doesn't seem to be able to open this EPPX files. And that is correct. I need to update. I have made an update to the spreadsheet we use for this for the interface calculation, and I have it on my list to update that into our server, and I will make sure that happens very shortly, either today or tomorrow. So this is a new interface spreadsheet where I can read the new formats of the energyPRO EPPX files. When will the tutorial and guides for energyPRO be updated for version 5? So, as I mentioned, the guide, the help manual or the documentation, the manual is updated, and we will be working on the guides as well to update those. But that will be something we take as we move along. But we're moving into that. And we will update them, and we will convert them into the same format as the manual. And then the question was, how do I find the 23 UK electricity market prices? And that is actually not very easy. But I believe we managed to include them here. So let's just have a quick look. Oh, and then I see that my colleague Chris has commented right below that they are available there. and he had just sent him you they are available on the Elexon portal. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure we did include. Let me see if we managed. Maybe we didn't manage. I thought we did, but yeah, but they are still available there, as Chris replied to you. Okay, so then is staying on version 4.9 the only way to get the old version of the ND conversion report? Yes, that is. It is. We don't have the old. We don't maintain both of them. So my suggestion, I'm pretty sure that is why you ask, because you use this, you export the data, copy it into a like spreadsheet, and then work from there. And I don't know, of course, how much work it will be, but my suggestion will be to update your workflow there, so to start using the new version of this energyPRO or ND conversion annual report. Otherwise, reach out to me and we can discuss if there is any issues. It's more specific.
This question was asked before the Q&A started, so I think you can skip it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but just as a comment to that, 5.0 is very much on user experience, so user interface improvements, better workflows, improved reporting, more options on that. When it comes to the technical parts, not a lot has been included in this 5.0, but in the next version 5.1 there will be more on the technical part, but that will be for another time. Okay. So any new facilities for hydrogen pump storage plants? Again, as I just mentioned, this in 5.0 we have not have focused on that part, so no is the short answer to that for now. Are there improvements on the functionality of the milk solver? The milk solver has, at least we have updated the highs solver, so it's the latest version available, and we have fixed some issues we experienced with it. We had a specific highs issue which we have asked them to fix, and which they have fixed, and which are included. We ourselves have had an issue with the optimize related milk calculation, which we have fixed. And then for more improvements part, we have included, I mentioned these new private wire payments on consumption, so which also go into the milk optimization. I think that's what's included when it comes to the milk. Yes. Let me see. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Are the deep explanation about setting up code generation plants, especially with complex formula? Not included in this webinar, and not really. You can always look into the help and see. And I think I showed you. You have on this. You have these options here, and then you have all these settings you can select for setting up a list of functions, setting up the formula. But since this can be very, it can be all kinds of formulas you would be interested in. So we don't have a comprehensive description of the doing for very specific energy conversion units. But if you have a specific issue, you can reach out, and then we can see if we can help you. Another question: are there no further addition of storage, hydrogen tank or biogas storage separated from the gas module? For now, there's not. Let's see. Still, the fuel storage are still located on the definition of the fuel. So like here you have the fuel storage on this, so this is a part of this fuel here. But actually, our plan for one of our plans for 5.1 is this, that there will we take the storage out of the fuel definition, and we will be able to and we'll also take that offered fuel out, and we'll make more a fuel market. So you can have import, or you can have restriction, don't have any import option. You can have export options, and we will be able to restrict the transfer of fuel from one side to another side. All of that we expect to include in 5.1 of energyPRO. But for now, there's no further development of that. In terms of discharging. So that's do we have an option on how we want the terminal store to behave in terms of discharging and charging patterns in this update? No, not as such. The storage is charged and discharged very much according to what the milk optimization find is the most optimal. And then you can put in restrictions on availability. In some cases, you can always say that, okay, how much do I actually want to put on? But you can do that by having it in different sites and so on. But we have not included extra functionality in that sense in 5.0 compared with 4.9. Okay. If we make comparison, how much faster Gurobi or Cplex solvers are than HYSE? Yes, we had done some calculations, and they are faster, and especially Gurobi is better at solving difficult cases. So I don't have it on the top of my head actual measurements, but we do have some. I have a colleague who has made some comparison on that. But Cplex, especially the Gurobi, is faster than HYSE. And I think also if you are talking about having more complex and larger models, Cplex is faster and more stable. And as Chris says, we will add these electricity spot prices for UK into our online time series. Yes. Yes, I think that was more or less the end of the questions. Any further remarks? Otherwise, our time is more or less up.